Something terrible has happened. It's Betty. She's dead.
Oh, Lord, Candy, did you hear?
Such a travesty what happened to her.
Candy tells the story of a very shocking and surprising murder that took place in a small town in Texas in 1980. It really shocked the community because nothing like that happened there. And then the most kind of stunning aspect of it was that it was a local housewife who was murdered by another housewife who she went to church with, a woman that she knew. And there are a lot of different twists and turns in the story. And it's a really heartbreaking and interesting true story. Betty Gore is a woman who grew up in a very, very small town in Kansas and was quite popular growing up. She had boyfriends, she had a lot of friends, but she was a very forthright person. She really valued her education. She went to college, which wasn't that typical for people from her town. And then she met her husband and she moved to a small town in Texas with him. And her dreams were kind of deferred. They started to have kids. She loved her kids very much, but she suffered with postpartum depression that at that time was not diagnosed. And she was really suffering at the point in the story where we meet her. She's struggling. She doesn't have resources. She doesn't have help. She doesn't have a lot of intimacy with her husband, and she's in a really tough place. Honestly, I was familiar with this story before I read the scripts, and I thought the story was so fascinating, but I did understand that there were a number of different ways the scripts could go. I was a huge fan of The Act, which was the show that Robin and Nick, our creators, had previously done. It all looked good. It was only when I read the scripts that I really understood how sensitive they were being with the material and how delicate and how much they really were exploring the lives of these two women. It wasn't really a sensational story. It ends in a very tragic way. And certainly they show the horror of what happened to Betty. But so much of it was about the day-to-day life of these women and what women's lives were like at this point in time. And I was sold. I just thought the scripts were so good.
Hi, y'all. So I was thinking it might be fun to start up a children's choir. I know my Christina would love it. And now that we have Davy, you know, we're fostering a little boy, Davy. Poor little thing. He is just a sweetheart. But I thought with all our little ones, we could put together something really special.
Well, aren't you sweet, Betty? You want to teach children to be louder?
When I was trying to immerse myself into the role and do research, the greatest resource that I had was a book called Evidence of Love, which was written by John Bloom and Jim Atkinson. And there's so much detail in the book. They interviewed everybody you could possibly have wanted them to interview. Family, friends, Candy. And they just had so much information. They had so much information about Betty, who she was growing up. They had specific facts about the case and the evidence and how it was processed and handled, the trial. So I really felt like there was nothing I had questions about when we came to film, which is a pretty amazing place to be.
And the weird thing is, he's been looking really good lately.
You know, I wonder if he's got this Madonna horror complex thingy, you know, where the baby is making it impossible for him to look at you as a sexual creature. It's very common. Says Ladies' Home Journal.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Oh, that sounds really bad.
No, it's good that he sees you as the Madonna. You just gotta remind him that you can also be the you know what.
It was a really great experience working with Jessica Biel. I was a fan of hers already. I just think she's such a great actress. And then to get to know her as a person, how warm and lovely she is, it was great. Candy is very, very different from Jess. Jess is a lot softer, kinder, sort of like a really open-hearted, like easygoing person. And Candy's a bit more strident and, you know, outwardly jolly. And she really was great at portraying a person who's not very much like her, and she looked completely different. I think that we both had a pretty easy time slipping into the characters because when we looked at each other, we didn't look like the people that we knew and loved. We didn't look like the friends that we had become. I think one of the things that moved me the most about the story when I initially heard about it was that, like with a lot of crime cases, the victim was kind of put on trial, and Betty's personality was talked about on the stand. People basically got on the stand and said, oh, I didn't really like her. She was difficult. She was awkward. And it's just heartbreaking that this awful thing happened to this person, and it became somewhat of a popularity contest during the trial. And she's not there. She doesn't have a voice. She doesn't get to stand up for herself. And some of the people who I think she believed were closest to her kind of betrayed her in those moments. And the outcome of the case is just one of the most fascinating parts of the story to me. It's such a crazy story, and I think it really makes us ask ourselves, like, what am I capable of if I was pushed to the brink? I think I'm excited for people to watch something and decide if that feels like something that is possible for them, if that seems like something that their mother would be capable of, you know, and for them to have a deeper understanding of what these women's lives were like. And then also, there are just some great performances in it. I just think top to bottom, the cast is incredible. I'm excited for people to see Jessica's work. And then a couple of surprise actors who show up in episode 4. There's a lot about it that I'm just so proud of it as a show, and I hope people like it.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Find your favorite recipes, celebrity interviews, uplifting stories, shop our favorite deals, and so much more with the Today app. Download it now.